Hello and welcome back. Fiscal Boot Camp 2016. We're looking at a beautiful on appearance at the beginning, at the onset of September 3rd, 2016. I promised you a few podcasts back that I would speak to you about the richest man in Babylon. And it came to mind by virtue of all of the fiscal chicanery and misdoings and misdeeds that had been taking place by government daily. Federal Reserve, IMF, Bank of Japan, Bank of England. So long story short, the richest man in Babylon is one of the greatest financial literature, financial books that has been written. My goodness gracious, written by Sam Clason. A lot of people think or say that it's fake, fictitious, whereas some of my friends in the Middle East, my Aki brothers, told me that this is real. This is on point and factual. So the biggest thing is the book centered around three characters. Childhood friends, Banseed and Colby and Arkad. Banseed and Colby were two young men who actually, studied and went ahead on and did what they had to do with their lives. And Arkad, story of a guy whose life went from salt to sugar. He started off as a secretary, a scribe, they used to call him back in the day. He started off as a scribe, and he made a deal with a very rich man to find out the secret to wealth, the secret to making money. And he exchanged his work on a clay writing. Because back in the day, we're talking about the richest men in Babylon. They didn't have typewriters. They didn't have pens and pencils. You were inscribing into a piece of clay. You guys in the history books say, "Oh, we found a clay tablet. We found a clay tablet in a cave." This is where the stuff was outsourced from. One of the pieces that the rich old man told Arkad to start the book was, quote unquote, "I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep. And so will you," unquote. And the biggest thing there is, and this is something that you recognize in the financial world, by people trying to getting into the entrepreneur type reality. Pay yourselves first and foremost before you spend any of the money that you receive. Some people had started to call that a me tax, which is kind of funny. But if you take pen and paper, write this down. One, pay yourself first. And quote, by Arkad's mentor, "A part of all you earn is yours to keep. It should not be less than a tenth, no matter how little you earn. It can be as much more as you can afford." So the biggest thing here is to make it a set point to put away nothing less than a tenth of what you're bringing in. No matter how small it is that you made, take a tenth of that and put it away. It's not really difficult to do. The second point that he was taught, live below your means, quote unquote, control your expenditures. Thinking, if you've paid yourself first, at least 10% of what you earn, that leaves you with 90% or less of your income to live off of. So there we come, controlling your costs, expenditures, costs. Controlling your costs enables you to make good use of the money you have left. over what you have after you paid yourself. So don't get greedy on taking care of yourself. It's about being smart with your money, because a lot of people would choose to rather, take friends out to eat, take their girlfriend out to eat, get her hair and nails done, or whatever you say. And at the end of the day, there's not much left in the kitty. So, quote unquote, from the book, budget your expenses so that you may have money to pay for your necessities, to pay for your enjoyments, and to gratify your worthwhile desires without spending more than 9/10 of your earnings. Mind you, 1/10 of your earnings you put away. This is now the rule. Your rule is to put 1/10 away every single month that you get something. The best advice to becoming wealthy is to keep your costs down even when your earning power increases. As you get a pay raise, that doesn't mean you have to pay more money. If you suddenly have a $2,000 or $3,000 raise in your income, you got to maintain your current cost level as if the raise never came, if you never got the raise. Controlling your costs means living below your means. The third point he was taught was to make your money work for you. Quote from the book, make your gold multiply. Wow. If you can hear my voice, I'm getting very excited. The very next segue to the podcast today, I'll actually share with you. I've got a special invited guest that will share it for me to you. Share it for me too. Share it with you, but for me. There we go. I got it right. Make your money work for you. I tend to believe that this lesson is more about investing. More about investing your money and letting it work for you. I personally believe that each and every one of us, my subscribers and devout listeners, should think about investing only after you've built up savings and an emergency fund. The biggest thing there, some people would say after you've accumulated 6 to 8 months worth of expenses in an emergency fund is the only way that you can start considering investing. But the reality of the situation is, for me, having done this over 25 years, if you put each coin to work so that it may produce its kind, even as the flocks of the field. This is the teacher talking. Sheep herders, this is what they did back in the day in Babylonian days. They had sheep. They had goats that produced milk, butter, and at the end of the day, meat to eat. Quote unquote, put each coin to work so that it may produce its kind, even as the flocks of the field, and help bring to you more income, a stream of wealth that will flow constantly into your purse or your wallet or your bank account. If everything else is good and gravy, making our money work for us is a great way to accumulate wealth. So stick to the point. Put every coin to work so that it brings back likewise in its kind. The fourth point that he shared with our card was insurance protects your wealth. Quote, guard your treasures from loss. Have you ever had a car accident? I have. I was actually in an intersection when a car on the left passed a red light and hit my car head on. Hallelujah. Alhamdulillah. Thank God. Neither one of us got hurt. And also, thankfully, we both had insurance. Insurance helps safeguard your wealth, our wealth, by absorbing potential loss and mitigating our financial situation. There are many insurances we can buy, and we should do our research on which one and how much we need. Renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance helps protect our house or our home. Another is a long-term insurance which becomes suitable to help us as we get older and help protect us from medical expenses and long-term costs. The idea that we will never have to use the insurance, but in any case something happens, it's better to have and not need than to need and not have. Fifth point, make your home your biggest expense. Make your home your biggest expense, quote unquote, being make your dwelling a profitable investment. That means put into the place where you're staying. Our homes are potentially the biggest expense we have to tackle. Many of us do not own a home, and instead we rent one. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, you've gotta know that it's about taking the biggest expense, your home, and managing it wisely, smartly, like you got some sense. To live below your to live below your means, and to buy or to rent a home you can comfortably afford. This puts you in a different tax bracket and everything else. Since your home is the biggest expense, that you must pay great defense in that area, because you got to make sure that when you lay your head down, it's a place where you have comfort, peace of mind. So as you get into this and you realize that you've been putting away a set amount every single month, you're going to realize that you're going to be able to buy a home that's well below what will put you over the top or put you at pressure. It's about being happy with the home you bought. Got to be affordable, got to be in a location you like. It's got to have enough space for you and your missus or anybody else that you're carrying on with. Think about your homes as an investment, but the truth is it's not. It's an expense, and a very high one that you must manage carefully. Because of the fact a lot of people, for example, my family, brothers, by virtue of the 2008-2009 crisis, we took it on the chin. We took the blow because we pumped so much money into the home that it actually ended up putting us out of the fair market valuation for the house in the area where the home was located. We were in a very upscale, middle class part of the city, but we had pumped so much money in to that home, redoing carpeting for the entire place, and I'm talking about we had a place. It was pretty impressive. Carpeting for 3 floors, and then my brother and his wife had diverging interests on what to do with the money that was coming in and where to put it into decor. She liked artwork. My brother liked caricatures, monumental type situations. And me, I'm an avid collector, so we've got almost like an undertow. You don't see anybody jump off of a cruise ship because of the fact that in the open water, in the sea, you experience to what's called undertow. The sea just doesn't have one wave. As you go a little bit deeper, you got a wave going in the other direction. You go a little bit deeper, you got another wave going in the other direction. So if you're swimming there, trying to swim, you can get caught up, swept away and subject to the whim of Mother Earth, Neptune, the god of the seven seas, however you want to term it. The sixth piece that our card was told is to have a retirement plan, or ensure, quote unquote, ensure a future income. A 25-year-old earning an annual salary of $40,000, for example, with an annual raise of 3%, will have earned an estimated $3 million if they retire by age 65. That's about 40 years of working and earning, especially if it sticks to this plan. We as people should have a retirement plan if we want to retire comfortably. We can do that by setting aside money to be invested for our retirement. There are many retirement investment plans out there, such as 401k, traditional IRA, Roth. You've got a lot of stuff now. The biggest thing is the younger you can start putting away money for your retirement, the better. When we start putting money away for retirement early, we can take advantage of a magical thing called compounding interest. This also is getting me very happy because of the fact that the next segue to the podcast we're going to be shared with you by a special invited guest is actually going to share a situation, a procedure, a tactic that I've been using for the better part of 25 years. And I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Compounding interest is also known as the eighth wonder of the world. Benjamin Franklin knew about this. Did you know that Benjamin Franklin left 1,000 pounds, which would be $5,000 in today's money, when he died, to a trust? And he deeded or bequeathed that trust and left it to his favorite cities. He left it to the city. Think about that. Philadelphia and Boston, with the provision that the money that he deeded or bequeathed to them had to be used after it was remained untouched for as long as 200 years. What was left in the trust after it grew was the amount of $2 million given to Philadelphia and a whopping $5 million given to Boston. The lesson we can learn from this is to make time work for us when we plan for retirement by starting early. Time can be our retirement's greatest friend. Think about that. Quote unquote. Remember that money is a prolific generating nature. Money can beget money, and its offspring can beget more. Quote by Benjamin Franklin. Seventh lesson taught to our God: invest in yourself. Quote unquote. Increase your ability to earn. The best way we can increase our earnings is by investing in ourselves. We can do that by continually learning and striving to develop yourself. We're living right now in a very exciting time that they called it the information age. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're living in a situation where you can, using the internet, you can get all kind of things at your behest as you will. We got things like open courseware, where many schools, including Ivy League schools, post their whole class courses for free online. It's a great way to learn on your own. They got a Coursera, which is, I actually include these into the podcast so that you can follow up, where you can get involved in many online courses for free. from finance to philosophy or what have you. Those eager to grasp opportunities for their betterment do attract the interest of the goddess of fortune. I love it. She is ever anxious to help those who please her. And who is she pleased with? She's pleased with those who do, rather than those who merely talk and engage in wishful thinking. Action will lead you forth to the success you desire. The 5 rules of gold from the richest man of Babylon. Gold comes gladly and in increasing quantity to any man who will put, but by not less than 1/10 of his earnings, to create an estate for his future and for that of his family. Gold labors diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds fit to put it into profitable employment, multiplying it even as the sheep or the flocks of his field. Gold clings to the protection of the cautious owner who invests under the advice of wise men in his handling. This leads me to a passage I was told and taught by my grandfather for many, many years. Rest in peace. He passed almost at 100 years old. He would tell me that in the multitude of wise counsel, you got to talk to wise people that have done what you want to do and that have succeeded at it, that experienced success in it. I love it. Next law: gold slips away from the man who invested in business or purposes with which he's not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep. The people that he was supposed to be talking to, the wise men in handling of money, didn't advise him to do it, and he put his money into it. This is setting himself up to fall. The 5th, gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who follows the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires in investment. This happened to me. The beginning of my career as a sport professional. And the numbers are what sold me. The idea to get 10% interest per month and to have that 10% interest per month tack on to another 10% by leaving the 10% interest in. I was sucked into a Ponzi scheme. And the crazy part about that is a lot of what they were telling me to try me get into the scheme was based on these same rules and laws taken from the richest man in Babylon. The next piece: know where you are and where you are going. Track your wealth. 8th piece: in order us to know where we stand financially, we need to face the whole truth of our current situation. We can do that by tracking our current wealth or lack thereof. This is a tough exercise because a lot of people don't want to face the truth of how they earn and how they spend their money so that they know where they're going. There's a big difference between wealthy people and those who are not. Wealthy people know their net worth, while the poor do not pay particular attention nor care about tracking their assets and liabilities. Quote, you cannot manage what you do not measure, unquote. Bill Hewitt, co-founder of Hewlett Packard. How can you manage if you don't measure it? How does that work? How does that work? You see what I'm saying? These are the things that make you go home. These are the things that make you go home. tracking your wealth, by putting together that with the 4-point plan of putting away 10% of everything that you bring in, no matter how small or how large it is, every month, and then 10% will be invested to family, 10% given to church, charitable organization, church, ministry, 60% to live on. You stay par for the course and you track your wealth, you're going to find out that you're going to find yourself in a very, very, very venerable situation. Thank you so much for your time. I will have links below so that you can follow up, hold me to the fire, if you will, and put it to the test, put me to the test. Thank you so much for your time. Oh, and enjoy the brief nightcap with my special guest speaker, Denise Gardenier.
Postscript. One thing that I was told constantly by my father was to never forget the 3 ways to make and handle money. 1, you can work to make money. 2, you can have someone work for you to make you money. And 3, you can have your money work for you to make you money. It is that exact line of thinking that led to using the game of basketball, a sport that I loved passionately, to pay well enough to begin exploring avenues to enter the business world. This also led to finding out that the most attractive interest rates given to depositors were located in banks around the world, and in some of the same countries where I had found employment. With the 3-point plan in my head and written down in many places, I continue to put it, coupled with the lessons learned and outlined in this book, to use some almost 20 years later.